Well, guys, the Indianapolis Colts, some way, somehow, have found a diamond in the rough at corner. And no, it's not one of their draft picks. We're going to talk about the Indianapolis Colts' latest emerging player, Samuel Womack. Let's get into it. What is going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Bring the Juice, your guys. Cody and Derek back with another one, guys. Yes, of course, we are talking about Samuel Womack today, the Indianapolis Colts' latest player, Derek, that came out of nowhere. Nobody that we expected to do anything, was a waiver claim by the Indianapolis Colts, and all of a sudden, boom, Derek, he is the third-rated corner in the NFL, according to PFF, which is just absolutely wild to me, considering everything with the corner position right now. It's just crazy to me that we're sitting here talking about this player, Samuel Womack. But here we are, Derek. So we're going to talk about that here in just a second, guys. Before we do that, just want to remind you guys that this episode is presented by PrizePicks. Be sure to download the app today and use the code JUICE to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. All right, Derek, let's talk about Samuel Womack real fast because what can you say about this guy, man? I mean, coming out of nowhere, was with the 49ers, obviously was a waiver guy that got cut. Colts claimed him. We liked his attitude coming in, his mindset from, saying things like, I'm going to make sure that never happens again. You love that kind of mindset. But Derek, let's be honest. How many times do players say that and nothing ever happens?
Right.
Like you hear that all the time, right? And then they turn out to be nothing. But to his credit, man, Samuel Womack, he has backed up that talk. Absolutely. So far, Derek, a kid that, we thought primarily was a special teamer when the Colts brought him in. The injuries happened, bad corner play from players like Dallas Flowers, opened an opportunity for Samuel Womack. And Derek, it's crazy to me how good he has been. I'll pull up a stat real fast. So yesterday against the Tennessee Titans, Derek, he had 26 coverage snaps, 4 targets against him, 1 reception for 2 yards. So a coverage grade of 89.6 right now, Derek. And Samuel Womack currently sits as the number 3 graded corner in terms of defense and coverage. And also he's a pretty good in the run department as well. So talk to me about Samuel Womack, man, because this is the kid whose name has just continued to grow and grow with each passing week. And it seems like, Derek, he's getting better and better every week as well.
Yeah, it's funny because I don't remember who it was. I think it was Destin that said it. And he's like, I know that he, like, the depth at the cornerback position for the 49ers is really good. But, like, how in the world did this kid go on waivers? Like, that's what's insane about it. He hasn't been a huge tackle guy throughout all the games, but, like, again, you don't really have to be, especially since you're a corner. And let's be realistic. He didn't really get much of a chance to actually make a lot of tackles earlier when he first started out because, remember, he wasn't a starter. He wasn't a starter at first when he got brought in. He was only brought in the second week of the NFL season for the Indianapolis Colts after the Juju Brents injury had occurred. And, people start, like you and I said, like, we didn't know much about the kid. We only heard, some of the sound bites, as you mentioned, that he said, I'm mad that I got waived, but, I'm determined to never allow that to happen again. And Cody's not only on his way, if he keeps playing like this, not only on his way to not getting waived again, he's on his way to potentially getting himself a big contract the way that he's playing right now. It's been incredible to see him, especially since he was the highest graded Colt in week 6 against the Titans. You're right, only allowed 1 reception on 5 targets through the last game, and that was for 2 yards, in which that same exact catch, it was just a throw into the flat for the tight end, and he blew up that tight end on a perfect form tackle, by the way. And I mean, you're right. Samuel Womack has done, I mean, to put it into perspective, Cody, again, like this secondary for the Indianapolis Colts really hasn't been fantastic this year. But what did you and I say after the game on Sunday? What did we say was the problem with the defense? We kept wondering all year, was the secondary going to be the biggest problem for this team going forward? And through the last couple weeks, especially, they haven't been the biggest problem. And that's amazing to say because, again, I know that the defensive line has been more decimated than the secondary has in some ways. But Samuel Womack is a lot of the reason as to why the secondary unit has kind of had a slight bit of a resurgence over the last several weeks. I know that they haven't played elite quarterbacks over the last few weeks, which I understand that. But again, when he's targeted, people don't perform against him. Through these last 4 games that he has started, he's had allowed 3 receptions on 12 targets for 21 yards. I mean, that's incredible. He's got a 39.6 passer rating against. He has just been absolutely remarkable. And, you know, we saw Kenny Moore come back and all this. I mean, I know it was against the Titans. And obviously, after the Dolphins are over, you're going to see some better quarterback play. No question about it. But if Womack, Moore, and Jones stay healthy and these guys can start playing like this on a consistent basis, when we start getting some of these defensive linemen back healthy, Cody, I mean, this defense could have a little bit of a resurgence. And maybe we can start winning some games with our defense actually doing something. And Samuel Womack is a lot of the reason for that right now. And I mean, no cutting corners, Cody. I mean, he's been our best defensive player over the last few weeks. And that's crazy because this guy was a waiver claim after week 1. Hadn't been in this Colts scheme for more than 2 weeks. And this guy's already emerged himself as the best defensive player on this team.
Well, guys, with football season finally getting back into the swing of things, first off, we rejoice. But also, guys, when it comes to PrizePicks, this is going to be a great way for you guys, especially, to check out some of the stuff that PrizePicks has. You can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. You heard me right. Only 4 correct picks. You can win 100 times your money, guys, on PrizePicks. Be sure to sign up today and get $50 off instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. So if you're looking specifically for the Colts stuff, that's definitely something you guys should check out. But if you're looking for, like me, more NFL stuff, there's all sorts of stats and stuff that you can check out and make your picks. And there's definitely guys that are very consistent, like Jonathan Taylor against the Houston Texans, that you really feel like you can probably feel pretty good about overall, right? And there's some other ones where you're like, I don't know if I would take the over on that. I don't know if I would pick them to hit that margin, right? So, guys, be sure to go check out all that stuff on PrizePicks. It's only a couple examples. There's all the different odds that you could hope for when it comes to that for PrizePicks. So I encourage you guys to go check that out, but definitely excited for this season. And hopefully you guys will be following along with us and everything with PrizePicks and what they do. So be sure to download the app today. Use the code JUICE to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the PrizePicks app today. Use the code JUICE to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Like I said, guys, it's a great way to continue to stay in with week to week life of the NFL, specifically with your favorite team, the Indianapolis Colts. So be sure to do that. Be sure to check out PrizePicks. And remember, PrizePicks, run your game. That's crazy to even think about, right? I was saying it's wild to me that the secondary, well, yeah, it's definitely had its issues. Don't get me wrong, but it's not been the biggest problem. It's not been the Achilles heel of this defense, and that's just crazy. And Samuel Womack's a big reason there. I mean, Derek, I'm gonna be honest, and I think I'm not the only one. When Juju Brents went down, I said we're screwed at corner. There's no way around it. We have no answers. There's nothing. I mean, nobody expected Samuel Womack to be doing what he's doing. Absolutely nobody. I mean, it was not even a thought that Samuel Womack would even get any starting, much less actually play well when he got some starting reps, right? It's kind of crazy to even think about that. But you're right. I mean, he's a reason why, there are some positive things in this secondary. Well, yes, it still has its issues so at times. It is a very young unit in a lot of ways, Derek. But I mean, honestly, I don't know how you feel about the outlook of the corner position, but it makes me feel a lot better about the future of this position, right? Because you have two young guys who I think have had definitely some bright moments this year, who have played well. They're not perfect, don't get me wrong, but I do believe, Derek, the Colts have two young corners that you can build off of. I really do believe that. They have two young guys that are playing pretty good football for them, all things considered. So
Yep.
that's good enough for me, man. And I know Samuel Womack's not the tallest guy in the world, but he's got those long arms like Kenny Moore, and he can do a lot of those things on the outside that obviously players of his stature typically can't do. So all those things considered, man, it just makes you feel very excited about what this looks like now that he has an opportunity. And honestly, Derek, it's crazy. Just like Kenny Moore, he is taking full advantage of that opportunity and making it so the Colts have no choice but to keep him on the field. The Colts don't really have a choice right now. They have no other
Right.
corners, but you know what I mean? Like, this
Yeah.
is the exact way that Kenny Moore got on the field was, your corner room was decimated. There was injuries all over, and he gave the kid an opportunity. And that's exactly what's happened with Samuel Womack. So it's kind of crazy how eerily similar in certain ways it is to that. Now, obviously, I think Womack's even playing better than Kenny Moore played in his first couple games as a starter, which is crazy to think about. And again, this is his third season, so he's still a young guy in his mid-20s, and I think he has a lot of good football left. So I'm excited to see the future of Samuel Womack and this Indianapolis Colts secondary and just what it looks like moving forward.
If Indy is wise, they get this kid on a contract at some point, maybe even before this season ends. If somehow, some way, Samuel Womack can, be able to get convinced to make that kind of contract decision already. Because I mean, like you said, I mean, this is a young secondary, especially at the cornerback position. You know that there's a lot of questions about your durability in the group. Like, go keep the guys around that are actually doing something, not only doing something, but actually playing at a practically an elite level right now. It's nice when you're 5'9", but you have the arms of a 6'3" corner. That it's just, again, what's the comp that everyone keeps saying, right? He's got the same arm length as Richard Sherman, which is incredible because, again, Richard Sherman was 6 inches taller than you. So that's a rare ability that you can't teach that. That's just a God-given thing that he got lucky to have those insanely long arms. And people might not think that 6 inches in arm length on that sort of thing is that big of a difference. It is a huge difference. It means the difference between your hand getting placement on a ball and it's not. It's so important. And it's allowed him to thrive because he's also aggressive in his range. Like we have always said that, we felt that while Gus Bradley's scheme is designed to be a little bit more freelance and a little bit more aggressive than Matt Eberflus's scheme was, it's still a relatively softer scheme. Again, that major, mostly zone, just hiding back, keeping stuff in front of you. But Womack is just so good at playing on the wideout. He's able to make a lot of these plays that some of these other corners just simply can't make, mainly just because they don't quite have the killer instinct at the moment. And like you said, Womack is in a situation right now where he has everything to prove, right? I mean, he wants to be that guy that proves it and shows, hey, like I'm going to absolutely ruin this for the opposing team, and I can't be bad. I have to go out there. I have to be great at everything if I want my shot. And I mean, he has been insanely good. And I mean, there's not much more you can really say about it, man. I mean, it's been a great time watching him. And if Colts fans didn't know who he was before this game, I mean, you know him now. You know him now. And now everybody knows who you are, bro. Like, go and hopefully he doesn't shine away from it. I hope that he continues to be good like this. Again, he's probably going to struggle a little bit more in the upcoming weeks when we start seeing, if we start seeing some of these better quarterbacks that we're going to see. But very interested to see who he's going to be lining up against in the next few weeks when some of these better teams come into town.
Yeah, he's done a good job at, like you said, shutting down some of these receivers. I mean, not bad wide receivers at all. So I'm intrigued to see, the real test against the elite quarterbacks and good wide receivers and elite wide receivers. But, I mean, he's definitely had a key role, Derek, in your defense, especially last week. I mean, he had that key third down breakup against the Titans, and he had a couple other plays too. I mean, you mentioned a couple of nice tackles, and he's a guy that's just fearless when it comes to that. And it just seems like, Derek, you can kind of tell with corners who's got it and who doesn't. Some guys just have like a knack for the ball and a knack for playmaking, and he just seems like one of those guys that does, right? It's just like something that's like almost just ingrained in certain players, and it's just not teachable. And I just feel like Samuel Womack's a type of guy that has some of that in him. A knack for making a play, a knack for knowing where the ball is, like those sorts of things, right? He just seems like an extremely bright player that uses that to his advantage. Obviously, he's got the arm length to help him, but just seems like a player, Derek, that just has that natural instinct that will definitely serve him well, in the near future. But I'm intrigued to see how he continues to do it. I mean, obviously, even though Miami doesn't have like the quarterback right now, they still have some really good wide receivers. So I'm intrigued to see him moving forward, but so far so good with Samuel Womack, and excited to see him in more of this extended role now that really nobody else is challenging him for playing time. So really looking forward to that, and hopefully him, Jalen Jones, Kenny Moore, and this young secondary can just continue to grow together through the course of this season. But guys, let us know your thoughts here on Samuel Womack, his performance so far through this season for the Colts, going from a waiver claim to a starter to one of the better corners in football, according to PFF. Let us know all those things in the comments down below. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We greatly appreciate it. And as always, guys, go Colts.